Welcome back, everybody, to SJG Perspective. I'm so glad to have you all here. You guys stick around. We got some great articles coming up and some great stories to touch on. And I'm premiering this video. I'm going to start doing this once a week, hopefully, where I can just premiere a few of my videos and run them as live, and I'll be in the chat. And then when I'm done with the premiere, when we're done with this, we're going to go live and do a quick live or a live stream. So make sure you guys watch my channel for the live after this. But let's jump right in. Let's jump right into what I want to talk about. So with everything going on with COVID-19, are you guys okay with giving up your liberties? Are you guys okay in my community with giving up your freedoms if it makes you safe? Can we give up our freedoms long term? Will we bow down or bend over and give up our freedoms long term? That's a question I have for you, because our governments don't give a crap about us. They really don't. I know there's people who think they do. I even for a while was starting to believe and hope they did. But I'm really starting to see the light now that they don't care about us. It's either they don't really care about us or they don't have as much power as they say they have to protect us. Because right now what you're seeing unfold before your very eyes is a globalist takeover. A globalization takeover. Now I'm holding out a touch of hope that I'm wicked wrong. That I'm totally wrong. And if so, I am going to gladly come on and eat crow in front of everyone and say, I was totally wrong. I was totally wrong. Man, X, Y, and Z happened, and man, this is amazing, unprecedented, historical. And I can't believe that all just happened. Meaning, this is all going to go away and we're going to come out on the other side better than when we went in. I don't have that hope right now. But what I do want to tell and what I do want to communicate is not to give up hope. To hold on to your liberties, to hold on to your freedoms, to fight for your liberties, to fight for your freedoms, to keep them forethought or foremost in your thoughts. And right now, as you grudgingly accept some of this isolation and this social distancing and this stay-at-home orders, as you grudgingly accept that, as we see the rollout of really what this virus is, as you protect your family and you grudgingly pause some of your liberties and freedoms, just to see really how bad this whole thing is, never be willing to give them up, even if this thing is terrible on the outside, on the other side, even in a couple months when we see really how bad this thing is. Regardless of that, it's not so bad that we should be willing to give our freedoms up for it. Never. Our government wants those, and when they get them, they don't give them back. Let me tell you, let me share this little story with you guys. Just as an example of some of the dystopian future we have ahead of us. It says, pandemic drones can now detect fever and coughing. They have drones from a company called Dragonfly. I'll read through this, but a company called Dragonfly who manufactures these drones that can judge your breathing, your heart rate, your fever, and if you're coughing or sneezing. And they're planning on wanting to roll these out in a mass surveillance. And they're not even pretending to say it's not mass surveillance. They're straight telling you. Gottlieb straight is telling you, Scott Gottlieb, I believe, comes out and straight says, we need mass surveillance to fight the enemy, the virus. To fight these viruses, we need mass surveillance. They're doing Bluetooth bands right now, right? Where you have all your health data on your Bluetooth bands. They're kicking that idea around. Bill Gates, the philanthropist who cares about you, is talking about rolling out globalized ID, right? Globally IDing you. Right now, they're already using your phone data. So they can track where you've been and who maybe you've been in contact with who was infected and wasn't. Sounds really great on the outside. Sounds really great. Hey, in the midst of this fever, Stephen, in the midst of this pandemic and this virus, that would be really good to track somebody and see who they had contact with, that they were sick. Okay, sounds really good on the outside, right? Or on, from a 1,000-foot view. When the government gets that power and they're blatantly telling you they're going to do that, they're not even pretending like they were before after 9/11, sneaking and wiretapping us and reading our emails and listening to our phone calls, where they weren't even telling us they were doing that, but they were doing it. When they're straight up telling you right now, hey, we're going to track people with their movement on their phones. People are just like, oh, well, that sounds like a really good idea. because then you'll know if I'm affected, and then you can do. That's great. That's a great idea. That's a terrible idea if you care about your freedom, if you care about your privacy, if you care about Big Brother not being up your anus. That is a terrible idea, as is this drone. Pandemic drones. COVID-19 outbreak is proving to be the Trojan horse that justifies the ushering in of surveillance state. We've noted how governments and corporations are quickly deploying big data and spy tools to monitor people during the pandemic. The war on terror, the war on drugs, the war on illegal immigration, and now the war on COVID-19, the China virus. All start out as legitimate responses, but then are used by politicians to increase the surveillance state and erode any freedoms citizens have left. All those people all the normies who used to mock the conspiracy theorists and say, hey, this is coming down the pike. We may have been wrong on our timing, but the takeover, the globalized takeover, right? The globalization of all freedoms and or of all governments, the diminishing and destroying of your freedoms here in America was not ever a conspiracy theory. It was just how and when. How do we do it and when do we do it? Or when do we do it and how do we do it? Well, we're there now. We're seeing how. We're seeing how they do it. We're seeing how they justify taking all of your liberties. Right before your eyes. It's happening. Right now. Right now it's happening. What's coming to America in the not too distant, all start out as legitimate responses, but then are used by politicians to increase the surveillance state and erode freedoms of the citizens. What's coming to America in the not too distant future is a full-blown surveillance state that could be on par with China, which they've always wanted to do. They've always wanted to get us on par with China and their social credit score. All the big tech guys have been doing it. The Mark Zuckerbergs, the Twitter guy, Jack Dorsey's, the Bezos, the Apple dude. All of those people have loved this whole social credit score because, number one, they have their technology in place to help with that, so it's going to make business boom for them. But all of these people where you don't think right, man, the social shaming, right? The loss of the talking about hate speech, the loss of our First Amendment, the being able to take away our Second Amendment, to take away even, our Fifth Amendment. All of these things, right? They love that. They love that. They love being able to put you in a bubble that if you don't conform to that bubble, if you don't conform to that way of thought, then we will shame you. We will blame you. We will shame you, and we will cancel you, and we will take you down. That has been the goal for very long. Patriots, one of the reasons I started this channel was fighting against this loss of freedom of speech, this loss of free thought. That's one of the reasons why I was fighting, and I've been fighting on this channel, right? It's gone. It's pretty much gone right now. It's going right now, I should say, at a very quick clip downhill. And unless we understand that and raise our voices against it, I don't even know if we can stop it. I don't want to be fat, just kind of doom and gloom, fatalistic. Like, I'm going to go down swinging. And I tell everybody else we should all go down swinging. But you better start swinging. And you better start swinging for the fence, because right now that is exactly the trajectory we are on. The U.S.-based drone company called Dragonfly is spearheading the effort to build a drone network across public areas to detect infected people. The drone network is called the Global Early Warning System. The GWAS. That would be able to spot the first signs of a pandemic. Dragonfly was recently selected by Vital Intelligence, a healthcare data services and deep learning company, in conjunction with the University of South Australia, to immediately commercialize pandemic drones to monitor people in public spaces. Dragonfly is honored to work on such an important project, given the current pandemic facing the world with COVID-19. Health and respiratory monitoring will be vital for not only detection, but also utilizing the data to understand health trends. As we move forward, drones and autonomous technology doing detection will be an important part of ensuring public safety. And Andy Carr, director of Dragonfly and former Secretary of Transportation in the White House, Chief of Staff, said Andy Card, director of Dragonfly and former Secretary of Transportation and White House Chief of Staff. I'm going to say that one more time. Said Andy Card, who used to work at the White House, who was the Secretary of Transportation and a Chief of Staff at the White House. He is saying we're going to roll out this global or this nationwide drone fleet to monitor you, to monitor your heartbeat, to monitor your breath, to monitor your temperature, to monitor if you're coughing, to monitor where you go, to monitor what you eat. Oh, wait, he didn't say that? Please. That's exactly what this kind of stuff. Monitoring your phone, right? Who you're hanging out with, what you're posting online. This all is going to go in. It's all going into, it's all getting, aggregated into a database. And it's gonna essentially reflect your number. Gone are the days of your credit score, your beacon score. Gone are those days. Shortly gone are those days. Enter the new score. And goodbye freedoms, goodbye privacy. As shown below, the pandemic drone can easily detect breathing rate, heart rate, body temperature, and if the person is sneezing and coughing, all signs that can point to COVID-19 carrier. On Monday, the former FDA chief Scott Gottlieb, now get this, the former FDA chief Scott Gottlieb told CNBC that the U.S. must build a massive surveillance system to detect the virus, to detect where the virus might be spreading next. And maybe one of the best ways to monitor large swaths of the population could be through the use of, a pandemic drone across major U.S. metropolitan cities. What you really want, said Gottlieb, is a massive sentinel surveillance system where you can be testing people randomly in the background. Where you can be testing people randomly in the background to detect where the virus might be spreading. That's going to be an early tripwire, said Gottlieb, on preventing more coronavirus outbreaks. See, what we need to do is we need to take your freedoms and we need you to bend over and grab your ankles, right? And then what we're going to take, we're going to lube it up a little bit, but we're going to take this, we call it the freedom tube, right? It's the freedom tube. And we're just going to shove it right up into your sphincter. Call it the Liberty, the early warning freedom tube. It keeps everyone free because it keeps everyone safe. And if you're safe, aren't you free? Freedom tube. Maybe I should make a shirt of that. If you guys are okay with this, you're probably maybe not on the right channel. If you think this is all okay. If you think, oh, it's going to be okay, man, you're overreacting. I'm overreacting. Okay. We have seen more freedoms lost already, liberties lost already in the last 3 weeks than we did since 9/11. We have been shut down and locked down into our house. Now, right now, they're not militarily or hardcore law enforcement keeping us at bay. That's coming in a very short amount of time, especially when people start losing their shit because they can't feed themselves. And they start getting panicked after being in their house for much longer. You're going to see mass riots start breaking out. And then that gives the impetus, that gives the reason, that gives the motivation for law enforcement that is going to be subsidized and helped by military to crack down hardcore on everybody. And it's all going to be for your safety, though. Don't worry. We bring you these lack of freedoms and we bring you these authoritarian, communistic, rules and laws and regulations for your own safety, so you can rest. Say, you can rest easy at night, knowing that your freedoms are being stolen for your own good. For your own good. All right, guys, stick around. I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back with my next segment. And then don't forget, at the end of this premiere, we're going to be going live on my channel. So make sure you guys come over there also. But we'll be right back in just a moment.
So I just went to Kroger, and I went inside, and there was hardly anything left. And I was pretty disappointed. So I just decided to leave, and then I'd come back another day. And when I got outside, there was tons of people with carts full of groceries. So I asked, I said, could you spare any extra groceries? And to my surprise, everybody mostly was willing to share with me. I was impressed. I got some bread I got some eggs. I got some hand sanitizer, some wipes, toilet paper, some meats. It was great. I was impressed with humanity.
Welcome back, everybody, because tacos are awesome. I have this shirt. Anyways, that had nothing to do with my next point. You caught me stretching. The next articles that I want to go over, next little segment, is just kind of, I'm going to briefly touch on 4 or 5 articles that just show a progression of where we're at right now and how this devolves and gets to where I personally think it's going, which I totally want to be wrong. And I'm going to willfully and gladfully, if I come out on the other side and say I'm wrong, say I'm wrong. But I'm going to call it as I see it right now. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But jumping into that article. Concerned citizens or rats. Americans snitch on local businesses and neighbors amid shutdowns. This article kind of talks about what we're seeing right now with people's mindset that freedom and liberty, that's a thing of the past. We're not talking about freedom and liberty anymore. Now we're talking about you do, and you better do what the government says to do to keep us all safe. We're seeing neighbors turn on their neighbors, essentially. We're seeing people become hall monitors, COVID monitors, social distancing monitors. Forgetting the fact that some people who aren't doing that, whether they could be COVID idiots, and I think some of them have been. I think some of them have been irresponsible. And I do think there's a level of responsibility socially interacting with our neighbors and community that we should be socially responsible. But being a hall monitor and calling somebody out because they didn't do the right thing, they're not social distancing. If my First Amendment rights are gone, their First Amendment rights are gone. If my freedom of speech or rights are gone and freedom to assemble and move freely is gone, so are theirs. Oh my God, they're not doing what the government said. I'm going to call the police and tell on them. For instance, in this article, it talks about it in Oklahoma. One Tulsa, Oklahoma bar owner said the more than a dozen motorcycles showed up unannounced, but he served them a round of shots anyways to celebrate a birthday. Another live streamed a drag queen show. Well, that was your first mistake. On Facebook, while up to 20 people drank inside the locked bar, ignoring the police when they knocked on the door. They got in and everyone got a ticket. Everyone got, not arrested, but they all got misdemeanor citations and probably fined a shit ton. In Chicago, a yoga studio believed to be qualified as an essential health business was closed after the city, tipped off by several residents, disagreed. They said, nope, it's not. It's like health and wellness. Nope, it's not. You're closing your down. They got closed down. They were fined up to $10,000 because they were tipped off by neighbors. Colorado, a team enforcing Denver's shelter-in-place order issued 5 citations, including to Hobby Lobby and a GameStop franchise that claimed it was essential. And more than 600 warnings to businesses and individuals as of Tuesday. City spokesman Alton Dillard said. So this just happened a couple days ago. Give this like a week. Give this 2 weeks. Give this 3 weeks. And see the shit that hits the fan. That's where I'm going with all this. Connecticut had happened. New Jersey had happened. Even funerals. Chicago police even disbanded a funeral Sunday after seeing a group of more than 60 people, mainly elderly, congregating inside a church. Police spokesman Anthony Guillemette said. The balcony police, basically. It says, in one viral video, the person recording it is heard criticizing a woman who decides to go for a jog and resists police orders to produce her ID. Another shows a family of 4 heading to a supermarket carrying a scooter for one of their children, while a dozen of neighbors yell at them from the window, get inside your house. Finally, we should all ask, what will America look like when its economy finally opens back up? Bars, restaurants, studios, streets are bustling once again. Possibly a certain paranoia and fear will remain, and deep suspicion will endure. After in crisis hit times, neighbors so easily turned against neighbors. So phase number 1, we're being cooped up. Everyone's getting pissed. Everyone's narking out other people and snitching on other people. Then you go to this idiot who actually, Texas case could produce one of the first COVID-19 hate crimes. If you follow me, you know I don't believe in hate crimes. Crimes are crimes. I don't understand why killing a white person, opposed to if a white person hates a black person and kills them because they're black, why that's any more worse than a white person hating another white person and killing them because they hate that person, because they did something, said something, or whatever reason. To me, motivations really don't matter. The end result is the same. You committed a violent act. So anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's not what we're talking about today. Jose L. Gomez. I wonder if he was illegal with a name like Gomez. That was kind of racist. Probably. You could hate me for that. I don't care. I'm kidding. Maybe the dubious distinction of being the first person charged and convicted of a Corona hate crime. So you got people narking themselves out. Then you got this Yahoo dumbass who basically goes into a store, sees an Asian family, and thinks, oh, they're Asian. Oh, they're Chinese. They must have the coronavirus. I'm going to whip my handy dandy knife out of my pocket and I'm going to go chop them up and stab them up a little bit. Luckily, he got tackled by one of the store people, and I don't think the people died, but they did get stabbed up. That's no good. All because he thought they were spreading the coronavirus. So this could be an isolated incident of just dumbness, just idiot, just somebody that's really low on the whole smarts totem pole, right? Just a effing moron. But you got people narking him out. Now you got people losing their shit because, oh no, the coronavirus. And don't blame this on China. China. It's the China virus, because it is the China virus. That's just an idiot, right? That's not Trump's fault. Then you add to that New York's unemployment fund will be insolvent in 2 months, as will California's, as will most other main metropolitan areas and cities. It will be a domino effect that goes down. New York's unemployment compensation fund is basically insolvent, wrote Jared Walzak, director of the State Tax Policy of Tax Foundations, as quoted by Bloomberg. Funds will be exhausted even more quickly should unemployment compensation claims continue to rise. It only gets worse. There are now nearly twice as many people claiming or already receiving unemployment benefits as there were over the comparison period, meaning that with the current claims, states would run out twice as fast, the Tax Foundation Walzak wrote. The state will have to borrow money from the federal government, which is just helicoptered money to everybody. Where do you think the federal government gets their money? They tax us, but they print it when they don't have it, which causes what? Inflation. This is not going to be good on the other side. I'm sorry I'm the bearer of bad news on this. This is not, excuse me, heartburn. This is not going to be good on the other side. And will ultimately have to pay back those loans with interest. While New York employees will eventually face high federal unemployment insurance taxes to compensate the federal government for extending loans to the state, Walzak wrote, who clearly is unaware that under the helicopter money, nobody will repay anything ever again. And instead, the perpetual Minsky moment will be stretched forever, defying every law of finance, physics, just because the Fed will monetize it all and everyone will live happily ever after. That's not what happens, right? So then, you add to that, everyone runs out of their money. We step to this nice little article. Depression strikes America, looting begins, panic searching for buy ammo hits record highs. Signs of social unrest are already starting to develop this week. Law enforcement agencies in South Carolina and California have charged people with looting businesses during the shutdowns, reported The Sun. Police in Santa Cruz, California arrested 5 people who were robbing businesses in the city, despite their shelter-in-place order, enforced by the state government. So you got this guy who was looting. Police detained a man suspected of looting Santa Cruz. You got these 2 people arrested for robbing a business in Santa Cruz. You got these people aftermath of the shop raided by robbers in Santa Cruz. In South Carolina, police arrested 2 men as they attempted to raid a storage warehouse unit. Many Americans recognize the writing on the wall of what could happen. That is the possibility of social unrest. Possibility? Inevitability. And it makes sense why gun stores saw record sales across the country last month with weapons and ammo in short supply. You got these fun little trends here, which buying trends. So this is interest over time of buying ammo online, right? Spikes here. Then we're here, and it's like, whoop, everyone's looking to buy some ammo. I went to buy some more ammo today. It was gone. Wyoming, interest by subregion. You see these areas here, man. You know in this area right here, That's God's country, man. That's God's country. They got guns, and that's where I'd like to move. Idaho, Montana, somewhere in there, Nebraska. Hell yeah. Oh, man, you got this breakout. Long rifle, 22, pistol, shotgun, AR-15, Cabela. Related searches, Walmart ammo, where can I buy ammo? 22 ammo, best place to buy ammo. You see this trend right here where it just skyrocketed. This was probably under the, I don't know when this was, back in 2012. Yeah, that's back when I thought other shit was going to that's when Obama was running shit and we all thought it was all about ready to end. Anyways, goes on to say that obviously people are uncomfortable right now and they're wanting to protect their family. God bless you. You should. Just don't shoot people stupidly. Shoot them if they're attacking your family, trying to harm you and your family, then take them out. But just don't get, all fucking Wild West on our ass. So we had this complete total unrest that's about ready to happen, mixed with the pandemic that's sweeping through, mixed with the lockdown and the authoritarian stuff we've already gone over, and the people starting to lose their mind. And what is Beijing doing in this time? What are they doing? Well, Beijing ramps up South China Sea war drills as pandemic swallows the West. I have been saying this. I'll cover this on the live stream after this. We'll talk about this. I think we're not being told. I think the military activity, I think the military people going into bases, I think Trump calling up the reservists, the million reservists, I think him coming out and saying the next couple weeks and probably more couple months are going to be terrible. I think him marshaling all of the Navy to the coastlines. I think something's about to happen and they know it. And then we see that Beijing is ramping up their drills right now in the South China Sea. China conducted war drills in the South China Sea this week as COVID-19 pandemic terrorizes the U.S., forcing the Pentagon to divert its attention to homeland to manage the public crisis that is unfolding rather than countering Beijing in the open sea, which I've never been a big fan of them doing that anyways. I think it's kind of an imperialistic bully move to do in the first place. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Asia Times reports that in recent days, China ramped up military drills and deployed military assets in highly contested waters at the South China Sea. And if you haven't known what's been going on in the South China Sea for the last couple of years, Google it and get yourself up to speed. It is one of the tinder box flare-off points along with the Middle East that could happen at any moment. So specifically areas that are known to have massive fossil fuel reserves. Interesting. While China conducted maritime exercises, countries surrounding the South China Sea who have also had staked right in these fossil fuel reserves in the contested waters are in a countrywide lockdown enforced by their respective militaries. This is an instance where military assets of Western powers and allies are preoccupied in their own countries as Beijing sails around the South China Sea uncontested. Many people don't realize the China virus unleashed a nuclear bomb on America, but did not destroy any physical assets. Instead, it imploded the financial economy. And without China firing a shot, the U.S. Navy has likely lost the USS Theodore Roosevelt, a massive nuclear aircraft carrier stationed in Guam. At least 1,000 sailors have been evacuated from the vessel for fear of contracting the virus. And just like that, a Chinese virus implodes the American economy, takes an aircraft carrier out in the Pacific, and China makes a big move in the South China Sea. Is the virus the first silent shot fired by Beijing in World War III? I think we're on the precipice of World War III. I really think this is, and we're flaring up our tempers with Iran. We're saying we're cozy with China. Trump says that. They're not cozy with us. They're hating us. They've wanted to take us down. They or in their region accidentally, however it got out, it has been released by them. They've lied about their numbers. They've lied about the pandemic. They've cost the world this. Now, was this all orchestrated by not just the Chinese, a whole cabal of people? Yes, I believe it was. But all that aside, whatever you think of the virus, is it a fake? Is it bad? Whatever it is, the fact of the matter is right now, we are in a situation worldwide that is not good or healthy or fun or anything. We are sitting in unprecedented times. So today I went to the market and there was no limit on food. So what I'm going to tell people out there is panic buy. Go out and stock the hell up if you haven't. If you have yourself a grocery outlet bargain market, that's a great place to go. They got great pricing. If you have yourself a Winco, whatever. For whatever reason, grocery outlet lifted their limit today, maybe to kind of push down the fear so people are like, oh, it isn't panic buying time. Go out and get yourself stocked up. Get yourself some bullets. Get yourself ready, because I think society is about ready to break down completely. That is my theory. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, and I'm willing to be wrong, and I want to be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, though. So we're going to take another break. Don't forget that you guys, after this premiere, we're going to be doing a live stream. So we will see you guys in just a moment. So please stand by. We'll see you in a second. Welcome back, everybody, to SJG Perspective. Okay, so kind of dovetailing off of the last clip we ran, I wanted to jump in and do this little article here. I already done it on the last recording, and I wasn't recording, so I'm a little pissed right now because it was really good, and I don't know if I can replicate it, but maybe those are the benefits to going live. Anyways, big tech will be your new slave masters under global coronavirus authoritarian rule. If you guys don't know who this little kid is, his name's Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg with an S. He is about 4'11", possibly quite probably an android. And I just picture there's like a little dude like in, Men in Black, like there's a little guy in his head where if you zippered down the back of his head and it opened up, it'd be a little guy in there going, meow. That's how I picture Mark Zuckerberg. He is such an asshole. He was a prick who stole Facebook and the idea of it in the first place. And he's a seedy, scum-sucking little dick that I really don't like. Really don't like Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg. Really don't like him. I don't personally know him, but he just seems like such an a-hole. Just a pompous little a-hole. Somebody who thinks he knows better than us. He knows better than you. He knows better than everybody else what's right and what's good and what's beneficial for each of us to think, for each of us to act. Mark Zuckerberg knows better than anybody else. He believes he knows, as does Jack Dorsey, as does Tim Cook, as does, Bezos and all these other big tech companies. They know better for you than you know. Mark Zuckerberg has been banning right and left off of his platform anything that conflicts with the mainstream narrative, right? So here in this article that we're talking about, it says, after the breakout of this Wuhan, everyone's been locked down in their home. All we've had to do is think about, Facebook and Instagram and WeChat and Snapchat and, FaceTime and all this other stuff. That's all we've had to do since we've been locked in our home, looking at news, reading the news, checking our news feeds out, right? And they're loving it right now. They're loving it. But are you loving the fact that big government and big tech now are in bed with one another in a big, bad way? Are you in love with that fact? Are you happy about the fact that now big tech is getting a much farther, deeper foothold in our world than ever before? Are you okay with that? Because I'm not. I think it's insane, the authoritarianism that we're willingly jumping into, right? As we talked about earlier. Let's read a little bit about this. It says, obviously being home, we FaceTime, we chat, all that stuff. Anyways. And it says, throughout it all, we seem more willing than ever to disregard global or digital privacy as we feed our desires to interact. We're all doing it. Likewise, the market power that made big tech look so dangerous makes it look vital and dependable now. I'll read that again. Likewise, the market power that made big tech look so dangerous makes it look vital and dependable now. Amazon, for instance, which has always been wanted to be the everything store, right? Amazon goes on to say Amazon wanted to be the everything store. They wanted to control everybody. They want to put the mom and pop shops out of business, the smaller pharmacies out of business. They want to rule everything, close down the brick and the mortars. We have Amazon. You can get it to your house in a day. They want to get that down to the same day, right? Well, the big, evil, terrible, global freaking monster corporation swallowing everything up that was the evil guy before, that we were all like, Amazon sucks, treats their employees like shit and everything else. Now we're loving them because they're what we have, right? They're what we have. So we're dealing with it. Now they in like Paris and San Francisco, they're the essential lifeline. And now mega corporations, once accused of killing off large sectors of our economies, like the malls and retails, like I just talked about, the food distributors, has become, in the age of the coronavirus, the only part of the economy that still functions. This guy who's writing this, he goes on to say that we're possibly seeing the beginning of the new economy, where he says, post-virus and one that will be forged by a merger of sorts between big tech and big government. We're literally seeing big tech and big government just merge up. We were fighting them before. We were against them before. We wanted to see some distance there before. And now they're just humping. And we're okay with it. They're just all sucked in together. And what is that, man? When you have government and business combining and becoming one. What is that again? Oh, that's fascism. That's actually fascism. Not like you stupid mask-covered twits and Tifa and you other freaks that always just want to throw the F word around, the fascist word around. This is actual fascism happening actually right now. While the former becomes the dominant economy, the social interaction force, while the former becomes a dominant economic and social interaction force, the latter is going to use the former to help track disease and, in the meantime, our activities, which they're doing right now, like we talked about before with the drones, right? They're tracking everything, your biometrics. They can see, and they're going to make, nink, 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 black mirror alert, that guy's sick. Get him, and they'll dispatch people to you. And how will they find you? Oh, because you're going to have a GPS band on, or you're going to be chipped globally ID like Bill Gates wants to do. Or they'll just use your smartphone that they're already tracking currently to find where you're at. So it'll be real easy once the drone finds you and big tech helps them to know exactly where the F you're at to come and get you and throw you in a quarantine before you even know you're sick. Gone are the days of your HIPAA privacy. Oh, but this will help the spread. You need to understand, Stephen, this is going to help the spread. This is going to help the spread of the virus so it doesn't get so bad. It's okay if they track my phone. I think that's a wonderful idea. And social credit scores, because I am so amazing. That's going to be wonderful too. Mark Zuckerberg, on the other hand, getting back to this, he's gone on to say, gone now are the calls for big government to place any restraint on big tech. This isn't what Mark Zuckerberg said. This is what we're saying now. Where were all of our calls before to say, whoa, government, Trump, Congress, can you guys do something so that we don't get banned and lose our livelihoods online because Zuckerberg or Wyszynski or Jack Dorsey or whoever else didn't like a thought we had, didn't like our opinion, so they're banning us, canceling us, shutting us down, absolutely erasing us from digital life and the current public square. Can you do something about that maybe? I mean, and I'm not for one to get government involved in business. I don't think that's okay. But we are dealing with a different animal here where there should be something put in place so that they can't go around banning whoever the hell they want to ban because we don't match up with their cultural Marxist, postmodern, insane socialist communist ideologies. Their intersexual bullshit, crazy transgenderism, LGBTQ insanity. Just because we don't agree with some of that, they can just erase your life? Well, no, not anymore. All that's gone. All that ban for that, all that's gone. That's gone now. That's gone now. The former must support the latter if the masses are to be supplied, entertained, connected, and placated during this time of extreme danger and emergency measures. So government's okay with it. They don't want to shut that shit down right now. Will it become the new normal? Sure. If the powers that be have their way, it's going to become the new normal. If we let them do it, it's going to become the new normal. I feel like I'm going to be distorting through this. Facebook has now taken down harmful misinformation related to the new coronavirus, redirecting users to public health authorities. Amazon has banned more than 1 million products that falsely promise to cure the coronavirus. Google is banning promotional ads for medical masks so they aren't hoarded by the panic buyers. Oh, wait a minute. Are these the masks? Are these the masks that you told us we don't need to wear because they don't work? But then in the same breath also said, and we need the masks for the medical staff? We shouldn't have masks because they don't work. And we need the masks for the medical staff. We need them to have them when they're working on these people. So it's like that meme where the guy's sweating, and he doesn't know which red button to push. And it's like, don't wear masks because they don't help. And we need masks for the medical. We need masks for the doctors when they're working on sick people. Which one is it? Because it can't be both. Either they work and you need to save them for the medical, or they don't work so the doctors don't need them. But is this the misinformation you're banning? Oh no, that's not the misinformation that Zuckerberg is banning right now. The misinformation that Zuckerberg is banning, by the way, the misinformation comes from Event 201. If you don't know what Event 201 is, go look it up. Event 201 happened in October 18th of last year. Incidentally, at the same time that the World Military Games were taking place in Wuhan. The exact same day, both of those things took place. Anyways, at Event 201, they actually were modeling an exercise. They were modeling a pandemic. It was an exercise. They brought in a whole bunch of people, the UN, Chinese people, Bill and Melinda Gates, the World Health Organization, people from the CDC, and then people like Bayer and some of these other large pharmaceutical companies were there. Oh, that's interesting. Pharmaceutical companies that are now actually in the real world right now getting some of these big major contracts to fight this virus with getting the vaccine. Anyways, back to Event 201. In Event 201, they modeled a pandemic using a coronavirus before the coronavirus broke out, mind you. They did this and they say, this is how we need to respond in the case of a pandemic. We need to respond like this. And now actually you'll see if you line up Event 201 with real world events, we're doing exactly what Event 201 said to do. To the letter. And one of the things they said on there was, we need to stop the misinformation. We need to stop the misinformation and the disinformation from getting out from conspiracy, tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. By the way, all you normies out there in the world, again, all you normies out there that have made fun of conspiracy theorists, I think you owe us an apology because we've been right now. We're right. We're right about what we're saying. We've been calling it out, and it's time you get on board, get on the ship, or don't. Be part of the believe everything's okay. Get on the train, see where it takes you. Hop into that little room that looks like an oven. It's not an oven. Just get in there. It's probably a good safe space for you to hang out. Anyways, the misinformation they talked about, they need to control. They need to control the misinformation and disinformation. They need to control that. So what do they say to do? We need to shut that down and raise authoritative sources. What does Mark Zuckerberg and any of the other mainstreams, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of these, Instagram, all of these mainstream ones doing? They're taking down people like me or people like my friends or independent content providers or people who are speaking the truth. They're suppressing them. They're removing subscribers from them. They're suppressing their views. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's actually happening. They're pushing them down, right? They're banning them. Zero Hedge got banned off of Twitter for breaking a story that turned out to be true on the coronavirus back in back in February. Anyways, misinformation. These guys are going to lecture us on misinformation. The ones that are actually used hospital footage from Italy and said that it was hospital footage in a New York hospital. Hospital footage from an Italy hospital, and CBS, the trusted source, right? The authoritative source. They ran it as hospital footage in New York. The same company is saying that we need to suppress this misinformation. The CBS, MSNBCs, NBC, CNN, Fox, The people that ran the video months back of the explosion and said it was missiles over in the Middle East somewhere, that there was these people that were getting bombed over in the Middle East. Turns out that those explosions were happening down south at a firing range, right? The same people that lied to you and told you that Bashar al-Assad gassed his own people, that pushed that story on you. Mainstream CNN was great at that, and MSNBC was great at that. They never were great at retracting that when that all turned out to be a lie. That it wasn't him, that it was the freedom fighters. That, oh, who was supporting those guys? Oh, that's right. We were. The U.S. was. So these are the guys, big tech, who is now in control and in more control. So if you're okay with this, be fine with it. But just know you are putting the noose around your neck and you're cinching it up. You're putting the noose around your neck and you're cinching it up. Okay? You need to, right now, I'm grudgingly going along with the lockdown because I don't know how bad this bioweapon is. It is a bioweapon. I'm convinced of it. And I don't know how bad it is, so I'm protecting myself and my wife and my kid from it until I fully know. But you think I'm doing it willingly and just like, oh, take my freedoms, you're here for you, yay! No, I'm not doing that. I'm doing it grudgingly. And I'm doing it knowing that when the truth finally comes out or when the smoke clears, I expect all my goddamn rights and freedoms back. And the government doesn't like to do it. And guess where that leads us to, people? Having to make a hard decision of how we're going to get those back and making sure we do. And I don't know if we ever do. I don't want to be a pessimist. I don't want to be, some Debbie Downer. But I'm not hopeful we get many freedoms back, if I'm being honest. I want to believe, I want to have hope. And along all these other theories that say, hey, this is all part of the game and the show, my faith is not there. I'm not shitting on you if your faith is. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll wear my dirty underwear on my face like a freaking war mask. And I'll do a live stream and I'll just say what an idiot I was. And I can't believe I was so wrong. And I will fall down and I will get a Q tattooed on my ass if that really happens. I will get a big ass Q tattooed on my ass. I want it to be true. I'm not shitting on if you believe that, but I'm saying you shouldn't put all your eggs in that basket, all your faith in that basket. Don't put them there. Have a little bit of a skeptical eye and wonderment. Wonderment? You know what I know. Anyways, yeah, that was the end of that article there. So, good. I actually recorded that one. So, I think I'm going to start my live stream here after this video. Covered those two articles. Man, I can't get through more than a couple articles in an hour. I need to know that too. I run my mouth too damn much. But please come over and hang out on our live stream if you made it through this premiere. Please come over and hang out. It's going to be a good time. We're going to have a blast. And I hope to see you there. Please like this video. Please share this video. And, I'm going to try to do more things. Still trying to figure out what my format is, actually. My consistent format. Trying to get it figured out. So I'm really hoping I can get that nailed out and worked out. But I do appreciate everybody hanging out. A thumbs up in the chat right now. Thumbs back up to you. I appreciate everybody watching this video and helping get my view count up and my hour count up, because I'd like to get to that 4,000 hours so I can get myself monetized, just so I can get myself unmonetized, basically. How that's going to work. But I think that's about it. My voice is hashed because, man, I was going after it a little bit. So don't know when I'm premiering this. Probably Saturday, maybe on Friday. Maybe I premiere this on Saturday. Yeah. And then if not, I'll do if I premiere whenever I premiere this, Friday or Saturday. Right after this, we'll have a live stream. So come join. Until next time, it's SJG Perspective. I appreciate your support. Follow me on SJ or Parler and on DLive. And until next time, without fear or animus, it's SJG Perspective. I appreciate you guys. You guys have a wonderful night. Bye.